So if you're fishing for some answers, this might help you out.
Once again, it's showtime.
What's happening, guys? Hope your day's going well. Today we're going to review Apollo Nutrition's Alpha of Omegas. We're going to go over the ingredients so you know what you're putting in your body, and we're going to talk about this a little bit. If you're new to the channel, you like stuff like that, hit the subscribe button. Love to have you along for the ride. So there's a few things. I'm hoping this doesn't turn into a rant or a rage of any kind, but I have a few things to talk about. Let's talk about fish oil first. I've had a lot of customers that are concerned with cognitive health. And I've ran into a few customers, more than a few over this last 6 months. The beauty about my job is the information I have, I can actually provide information to people while I'm doing something else at their house. And I love it. It's almost like an awakening. Doctors, you know what? There are a lot of good doctors out there, but there are some doctors that don't know jack crap, or they don't care. And all they want to do is prescribe medication to people, and it pisses me off. Not getting to the root cause of problems. So for instance, I had a customer the other day. His wife was dealing with the dementia and Alzheimer's, and he was talking about it. You know, I was spending a lot of time at his house working on multiple things, and we had a lot of time to talk. So he was talking while I was working. First, he started off by telling me that his wife has dementia and Alzheimer's, and she's having trouble with energy, and she's at that stage to where she's short-term memory's going. So she'll come up and ask him multiple questions. She forgets things, and it's got to be tough. So, and I have other customers in their 40s, like my age, 50, that have parents that are going through the same thing. And he started talking about the multiple supplements that he's taking and trying, because the doctor all he wants to do is prescribe her medication that doesn't seem to work and makes things worse. So I asked him what the supplements were. So he started talking about the cognitive function focus, and he had all these memory products out. One had, he spent over $300 on multiple pills that this company sold him on, and it basically had probiotics in it. And he said he shook it and he said, "This is my last bottle, and it doesn't do anything for her, but I figured it's not going to hurt her, and I spent $300 on this, which I really don't have, but I'm going to give her the rest of it." And then I said, let's talk about this for a second here. He showed me a few other products that he had. It had stuff like Bacopa in it, vinpocetine in it, which are all great for brain health, but they're not still getting not to the root problem. And the root problem with brain health, there's been tons of studies on this. It's a lack of the right phospholipids in the brain for the brain cells. And that's the root cause of Alzheimer's. And they've actually done studies where they've actually given people with dementia and Alzheimer's DHA, and it's improved their memory and thing. And the reason why is because the brain is about 70% fat, and half of that fat is actually DHA, which is a phospholipid, an unsaturated phospholipid that is needed for healthy cell formation, cell membrane formation. And we have 300 trillion cells in our body. I think one video I said over 40 trillion cells, but there's quite a few in our body that are all over our body. We have cells in our heart, help with heart function. We have cells in our muscles. We have cells in our kidneys. We have cells in our liver. These are all cells that are actually designed to promote energy production and processes of rebuilding things. And in the brain, we need that health. We need the unsaturated phospholipids along with saturated phospholipids in the brain. Now, if we don't get enough unsaturated phospholipids like DHA, which is primarily in the brain, or EPA, which is in the heart, then what happens is the cells become impermeable. So they become tightly wound. And the reason for that is when you look at a saturated phospholipid, it's like a straight line. So if you take like a straight line phospholipid and you build a cell around, the cell becomes tightly wound. There's no gaps because they're all bunched in together. And what happens is in the cell, we produce functions. And those functions are supposed to produce the functions and take them out of the cell, and as well as to produce those functions, bring things into the cell. So we need spacing, in a small spacing throughout the membrane of the cell. And unsaturated phospholipids actually are not straight line fatty acids. I'm just talking simply so you guys can understand. Not straight line. They don't bind right together as they're kind of being built around a cell. They're kind of squiggly and turned. And those unsaturated phospholipids, it creates spacing within the outer portion of the cell membrane and throughout the cell membrane for things to process in the cell, go out, to create functions and bring things in to create those processes. So people who lack DHA in the brain have smaller brains, and people who have an abundant amount of DHA in the brain, along with the other fats, have a larger brain. And this is going to create more gray areas in the brain for memory, cognitive function, processing, and stuff. So I started to kind of explain this kind of simply like I'm explaining it to you. And bottom line is DHA is an ingredient that is highly needed for brain health. EPA is highly needed for cardiovascular health. It's found in the heart cells. And to initiate that spacing, to have that spacing, that proper lipid formation within the cell membrane to create the processes in and out of the cells, we need those unsaturated and saturated phospholipids, which we do not get from our diet. I am totally sick of seeing supplements that are way underdosed. I'm not talking about pre-workouts. Honestly, pre-workouts hit the way they hit, and they're not for health. They're for muscle building or intra-formulas or something like that. I'm not talking about dosing or designing a product for those standards. I'm talking about health products. I want to thank Apollo Nutrition for making a supplement that actually makes sense, because you can find a ton of these big-ass bottles that are half the price of this, that have, I'd have to take 8 pills of this to get the amount of DHA and EPA I need, or we all need, daily for cellular health, when you only have to take 3 of these. So it's 1 gram to 2 grams of DHA a day, or EPA, that is going to help with the proper phospholipids in your body. And Apollo Nutrition, thanks for putting out a product that actually makes a difference. I appreciate you guys. That's all I had to say. Talk to you guys next time.